Hello viewers and welcome to my blog for the Hungarian Grand Prix then. So it's been a hot race this weekend, no doubt. We've come back from the recent driver test. It's been pretty hot in the UK for that. Lots of teams getting lots of extra tyre data, so not as much time for the young drivers as perhaps they would have liked. But either way, it's certainly a good experience for them. Back to the racing this weekend, and of course we see again a Mercedes on pole position in the form of Lewis Hamilton. Now, before the race, obviously the expectation was that the Mercedes probably wouldn't last very long on its tyres, and with hot weather conditions, the hot weather seems to have suited the Lotus so far this year. The expectation was that the Lotus would perform very well today. From the off then, obviously Lewis, great getaway off the line. Sebastian Vettel not too good, managed to hold back Nico Rosberg, and we had Grosjean. He nearly pushed Grosjean off around the outside, but Vettel ended up retaining second place and going off into the race. From there, Lewis was in pretty good control for the rest of the race, it has to be said, but obviously he went away, and then with Vettel in second place, Roman Grosjean holding onto him in third. Then it was a case of how far could they pull away on the soft tyres before they'd have to change their tyres, and how close could Mark Webber and Jenson Button stay. Jenson Button also having a very good start today. Has to be said, the McLaren does seem to be edging forward slightly, and Jenson himself said there were some new parts on the car and they weren't able to really demonstrate the performance on those on such a small twisty circuit. Hungaroring is a circuit where you don't always need the fastest car. Setup is everything, and I always say that was proven by Damon Hill in '97 in the Arrows when he got that remarkable result in second place. Or it should have been a win for him, but unfortunately on that occasion he had a problem later in the race on his gearbox. Now, Hungary's been successful for British drivers. Damon won his first race there, Jenson won his first race there, and obviously Lewis now has won it 4 times now. But certainly some incidents throughout the race. We had contact for Nico Rosberg on the first lap with Felipe Massa. Again, not much. Both drivers have been off here and there and everywhere. There wasn't really much either driver could do about it. More of a racing incident, really. Jenson up to 8th place from the start. That was fantastic from him. And we had some action throughout the middle of the field after the first set of stops. We had Jenson Button seemed to be the guy who was always in the way. Every time someone was coming out the pits, it was Jenson Button just getting ahead of them. And he really sort of changed the race in many respects. Lewis got past Jenson. And, it's one of those situations a bit like Monaco where we had Perez got past Jenson coming out the tunnel, and then Jenson sort of woke up to that and thought, right, no one else is getting past me. And it was a similar situation there. I think he thought Lewis was a long way behind, but Lewis had new tyres, had a great slipstream. He wasn't stuck behind other cars half the race, so wasn't having any overheating problems, and got past Jenson. Then woke Jenson up and he realised then, right, nobody else is getting past. And it was a bit of a nightmare for Sebastian Vettel and Roman Grosjean for many laps. Of course, we have 2 instances as well. I want to highlight Roman Grosjean today. We had the banging wheels with Jenson. Well, obviously, Roman moved across slightly and Jenson had nowhere to go, so that was a bad move, it has to be said. But then we had the incident where he went wide on turn 4, going past Felipe Massa. I don't know what the judgment was on that. I mean, we talk about all 4 wheels going off, but they went off for 2 cars they showed at the start as well. When you're overtaking another car, it depends on whether you're pushing someone off or whether you're gaining an advantage by going wide. I noted on the TV commentary, they noted, I think Hockenheim it was, but Hockenheim was different. That was where a driver went round the outside to gain an advantage. It wasn't necessarily about punting each other off the track, and I think if Grosjean had stayed on the track and done the racing line, he might have hit Massa, and if he'd hit Massa, then people would be blaming Roman for yet another incident. I think the guy's getting a hard time from everybody at the moment, has to be said, and I think today he was a little bit unlucky, but he didn't help with that silly Jenson incident, it has to be said. But a drive-through penalty, despite his great performance and his great laps, his great overtakes, it wasn't to be for him today. Sebastian Vettel really had an interesting day, didn't he? Pushing to the limit, has to be said, a lot of the time, all the way through the race. And, it just wasn't coming together for him today. Obviously, Kimi Räikkönen was doing a different strategy, had one less pit stop, got track position. And as we know, some people have referred to Hungary as the second Monaco. It's very difficult to pass in Hungary, unless you really, it's the start-finish straight is usually the best opportunity. But that didn't stop Lewis Hamilton today. He was passing, he was going around everybody everywhere. I mean, he was really on it today. And you know what? Today was the best performance I've seen from Lewis in 2 years, really 3 years. I mean, the guy was classic Lewis today, driving round people. The car was working for him, the tyres were working for him. They enabled him to drive as he wants to drive. Really nice to see. I like to see that. I'd like to see more of that. Let's hope it all works out for Lewis. Going around the outside of Mark Webber, using that extra grip. Fantastic moves from him today. I'm really pleased to see it all come together for him. Shame for Nico Rosberg, engine blowing. I think there was also a fear at the end for Lewis's engine as well. But Nico had been in traffic all day, whereas Lewis had been obviously opening clear air for him. And so for Lewis, it was a peerless drive, taking care of his car, taking care of his tyres, but at the same time maximising pace. Kimi Räikkönen, second place, did a great job. You know, he just went round and round really fast, overtook when he needed to, and protected his tyres. 33 laps on one set of tyres. Fantastic from him. Sebastian Vettel drove really hard today. I thought today was one of his hardest drives of the season. Earned his third place, but really felt he could have done better. I think Jensen really changed that for a lot of them. Mark Webber in fourth place. That's an interesting one. Coming up all the way. Mark Webber, fantastic drive from him today, has to be said. Really great from him cutting through the field. Some people weren't as lucky. They didn't have as much luck today, but it was good to see Williams get their first point. I know it's just 1 point, but it's nice to see them get 1 point for in the championship. At least it's still in there despite having a very bad year. And I hope that they put their resource to next year now and focus entirely on next year and can bounce back again, because next year it's all going to change all over again. So overall, I thought the race was very exciting. The field spread was quite high between the different tyre types and stuff like that. So no major drama in terms of safety cars or anything like that at the moment. But it was good fun racing, and the tyres all seem to hold up well. It certainly looks like Pirelli have made progress on the tyres since those Silverstone incidents, and it's good to see them back on track. So first half of the season, I certainly say that it's been ups and downs for Ferrari. Fernando not being where he's wanted to be, but yet we look at the Spanish Grand Prix and a couple of Grand Prix there where the Ferrari, I think it was Bahrain, so strong. The Ferrari was so strong. And yet other races like this race, it just isn't, it's nowhere for them. And Ferrari just don't seem to have the consistency at the moment in terms of pace. Mercedes had, quite frankly, unbelievable tyre wear today. Where has it come from? They've gone from zero to hero without doing a tyre test with everyone else. So that's impressive for them. And I was amazed at how well the tyres held on today. It was quite remarkable, in fact. So it was a good result. Someone in Mercedes has certainly turned them around. Rumours as to where Ross Brawn's going to go. Is he going to stay with Mercedes? Is he going to go to another team? We'll find out that soon. Obviously, there is the drivers. And again, another interesting element that's popped up here. Fernando Alonso's manager was seen talking to someone at Red Bull. So apparently he's throwing his hat in the ring. We don't know what the future may hold there. Very interesting. Fernando Alonso at Red Bull. Who knows? There was a wry smile when Fernando was interviewed by the BBC earlier, which says that there's definitely there's no smoke without fire there. Wouldn't that be interesting? But I think Fernando might just be playing about, just saying to Ferrari, hey, I want to win a world championship. This contract is going on. We need to get somewhere. So certainly, can you imagine if Ferrari lost Fernando Alonso? Stefano Domenicali would be in big trouble, I can tell you that. So I think Ferrari are a team under pressure, but I think there's no doubt, again, they're focusing on the next generation of cars now. And this year, it's going to be tough for the next few months. We have Mercedes, who have a lot of budget. They are focused on next year already. They've said that, but they can still focus on this year's car, as can Red Bull. So I think that's going to go all the way. I figure that Sebastian Vettel wants to close it up as quickly as possible so Red Bull then can focus on next year's. But, we're at the summer break now. That doesn't mean all the teams go on holiday, but the deal is that a lot of people have a nice break for the summer and then we come back in a few weeks' time. But certainly it's been an interesting first half of the season. As I say, ups and downs for Mercedes, ups and downs for Ferrari, ups and downs for Lotus, but certainly a consistency there from Red Bull as far as the top running teams are concerned. Though I wouldn't say the same car goes for Vettel as it does for Webber. Webber certainly seems to have less consistency in his car's reliability. McLaren started badly and have kind of bumbled along, really. They're improving gradually, but you can't really say they've got far this year, and I think their focus is almost entirely on next year now. So certainly it'll be interesting to see how they progress. So that's it then for my blog of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And as ever, there'll be more F1 chat from me, more F1 2013 news and everything else very soon.